Okay, excellent. So then, yeah, that was the first thing I wanted to ask because usually with the miniatures, you're cutting in the details a little more extremely than you would with like a quarter scale or six scale character. So that means that it looks like your details would definitely hold for that kind of thing. Now, how far along are you in the process on this guy? Would you still add textures, or is this closer to done? What is this?
No, so this is kind of one of the first like figures that I've tried to get to a point where it's like
Hmm.
super done.
Hmm.
So I like the wristbands are just kind of placeholders.
Hmm.
I don't feel like the sort of like the exposed arms are done,
Hmm.
and I feel pretty happy with, I think, the costuming. I think it
Hmm.
looks like it would be okay, and I tried to keep
Hmm.
it kind of crisper.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like at the point where it's like I kind of don't know what next to do, but like I know I need to do it. Like obviously, like those wristbands will have some like like leatherworking type stuff, but
Yeah.
kind of it's more of like sort of a tying it all together, and like I
Hmm.
guess the perspective on like, I mean, you guys know muscles and stuff and things like,
Hmm.
I don't want to be like superhero. I want to kind of be more like,
Sure.
works in the real world,
Yeah. Yeah.
swings an axe in the woods type of guy. But like,
Hmm.
how do you get that to convey in print? Because uh, I haven't yet been able to print out any figures, so I
Okay.
kind of don't know.
Okay. Yeah. So Bradley, you want me to start off and then you jump in, or is that okay?
Oh yeah, because I just want to know where you're at in it. I think that's what you just answered, and also like what things that you think you like, what direction you would like your feedback on. Because what I understand, I know you don't want to do the superhero stuff, but if it's
Mhm.
anatomy, the pose, and stuff like that, we want to definitely make sure you get what you want out of this session, and we don't like talk over something that's burning burning the most.
Yeah, like I know, like no, I appreciate that very much, and like I said too, it's something I've been working on sort of off and on while I've learned ZBrush, and now it's just kind of, I need something to help me get it over the over the finish line, So
Okay.
feel free, whatever
Okay.
you guys see, I'll appreciate.
Okay. All right. Well, Bradley, if you don't mind, I'll start off.
Yes.
I think that your anatomy overall is looking good. For this kind of character, like I'm thinking of like you said like a woodsman or something like that, right? Like somebody that works with his hands, or like an iron worker or something like that. They
Yes, sir.
usually are. They're muscular, but like not Chris Hemsworth, latest Thor muscular. So they would have like longer muscles, and so like kind of like you have it, but they're not super stocky. So I think looking at the back of his arm, what you have here is looking really good. Like that's kind of proportions that you would want. You might want to add a little more definition in the forearms. Let's see. So like if we're looking at, what have my dude here? This one. This one. All right. So if we're looking at like this, can't even see it, it's blown out. Sorry. Okay. Well, do you have an crochet at all that you can look at?
No, I don't. I can grab like, I've got like strength training and anatomy here. Grab it.
Okay, that's excellent. That's excellent. Okay. Well, I would say get yourself one of these guys because they don't cost a ton from 3D Total. What are these, Bradley? Like 150, something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, and these are excellent. These are excellent. Like I painted this girl I got for just like the regular muscle colors and stuff, but the definition on these are great and they don't break the bank for you. So you might want to have that just in front of you, because the strength training anatomy book is or the anatomy for strength trainers is fantastic. Just pay attention to the forearm muscles. I would add a little bit of that in there. The other thing that I'm noticing,
striations, right? Is that what you think?
Yeah,
the
well,
arm striations.
yeah, that's kind of the rippling on the muscles, but like I'm talking about like the breakup of the muscles themselves.
Yeah.
In addition to the striations, because if he's going to be lean, you'll see more of that. There's going to be less body fat over those muscles, so you'll see it. But overall, the general direction of him is fantastic as a start. It's just going in and maybe dialing in a little more detail on that. What I'm noticing, the first thing that kind of struck my eye is that there are a lot of straights here, right? So he's got this long kind of hammer that is straight up and down. From his head all the way down to his foot is pretty much a straight from this angle, and also from the back. And things that really convey more dynamic posing, even in like a museum pose, is in when you have those S shapes. So like if you're, his back is bent, if this knee was a bit forward, right? And that would bring his, there would be more of an S shape that would come down to his foot and then kind of carry through. And then that same thing kind of translates to his other leg as well. I think that's going to help you a little bit, but I think his face is looking good. His clothing, you could put some noise in there on his jacket, and it'll convey that leather kind of a look. Okay. And maybe do that same type of pattern, but in a different scale. Maybe it's smaller for his pants or something, and that'll also look like it. And then adding, a bit of straps. They always look great when you add like straps to the, leather straps to either his top or his arms, having some kind of wraps or something around them would look good as well. But Bradley, you wanna jump in?
Yep, I'm about to open it up and
do your drawovers.
I'm gonna also, so Nate, I'm gonna do this for Mike often. I'm always gonna try to push him to do drawovers for people. He did not do that, but we're gonna circle back and allow him to do that for you. I think that.
What's that app called? Tell me the app name again.
I use Epic Pen. I use Epic Pen for it.
Right, let me just get that. Bradley's been trying to tell me to get this thing forever. I just am too lazy.
And let me.
It took so long for me to go to this site, Bradley.
I'm sorry.
Download for the high price of free. Okay.
Yeah, I know, dog. I hate it. I hate it when you get free stuff.
It's so much. All right.
Nate, this is not just for the show. This is our actual dynamic. This is what it's actually like.
This is our life. Yeah.
I can tell. How long you guys known each other?
Oh man. So I'll quickly tell you my journey, so I won't take up the recording. But I was an art student of Mike, and I was like in a gazillion of everyone. And I was in business for the longest, and when COVID hit, I decided to follow the dream. So I started a private freelance studio that I did work for, and now I'm working at Bungie. But I have known about Mike for years, but we've been acquainted probably going on 3.
Okay, yeah. You guys have rapport like you've been friends for a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Bradley is he's my younger brother. Like, I joke about that, but he might as well be. Like, I never had one, so he's as close as I have.
I think all the advice that Mike gave you was really, really great. I will give you some advice that in following and I've Michael Pavlovich.
Yes. Yeah.
He's done so many videos, but one of his live streams that he said that he can tell the level of a character artist by looking at how they do ears.
There's not, they ain't done, but yeah.
It's like 100% fact. Yeah. So, and it's one of the quick things. So I would say the only thing that I would add to it, and it's like a quick, simple fix that you could do is like the separation, creating some separation here in the ears, and actually go and I absolutely hate ears, but when he made that statement, when I was like, "What?" I'm like, he's right. He's so right. He's so right. I'm like, I remember but to see how other and he was he's in the industry. He's where I wanted to be. And when he made that statement, I'm like, one of the first things I do when I start doing stuff, I'm gonna fix those freaking ears. So I would say that would be the only thing I would say. Not just the only, but that's my feedback. And also, you can get a long way when you're creating these wrinkles and stuff. I don't know what your low subdivision level is on your cloth stuff. It looks good, like you're getting the cloth stuff in, but I don't know what is this all on high. Do you have a decent low as you're making all of this?
I probably don't, because like I said, like I've kind of been working on this guy off and on as I learned ZBrush, so it's probably just been all Dynamesh and it's way too high poly. Let me see.
Do you have the pro version of ZBrush?
I do, yeah.
Oh, you're golden then, man, because the Z-Retopo is fantastic. Yeah.
And
it looks like it's fairly low.
I think so. When you have I'll go to the close here. When you have hashtag Bungie live stream, when you have
whose piece is this, Bradley? Whose is this?
Mine.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought it was somebody else's. I was like, why are we jumping to it?
No, I'm like, so I have this low subdivision. If the cloth, the cloth dynamic stuff on low subdivision is really cool if you want to get nice full. So brush, cloth, and if we go to we can even do cloth slide, right? So now that I have a low brush, a low subdivision, you'll get some. Fine, I want to move.
Full disclosure, Nate, I'm the only one that can't get these brushes to work. Just so you know. If you have any problems, we're on the same page, bro.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah.
So if we do cloth move, let's do this one. We can do the full.
Do you have to calculate it first, Bradley, in order for that to work?
No, not the cloth brushes, because it's you just set the dynamic settings here. So if you go to dynamics, it's flowing here, right? So if let's say I only wanted to, let's do a little deflate. I only want deflate, right? So now when I go here, I can just quickly lower your intensity some, and you can just really start. It's inflate. Do the right thing. Contract and expand. Expand.
Oh, we have Frederick in the other room, by the way.
I did. I put a message in the chat. This is Nate's time.
All right.
So you see how it's working? Like if you go and play with the settings, I can get it to move around. And then if you go up subdivisions, or if I add dynamics to this, right, you can. So you see how you're getting like nice folds there, and just using the cloth brushes will help do a lot of that too. So all the ones, like I prefer using the brushes versus trying to mess with the whole cloth system, because it's like hit or miss. But at least with the cloth brushes, for sure you'll get what you want to have.
And then looks like you could it generates some pretty nice shapes that you could then go in with your moves and your damn standards and your whatnot, and just kind of pick which ones to smooth out or which ones to accentuate.
Or if you do a morph target before you do it, you can always morph target away too.
I gotta watch some morph targets. It just sort of sets like two stages, and then you I can look. I don't want to pick up.
What I can do. Here's what I'll do. I'll show you. So what I'll do is I'm gonna add some subdivisions here. Divide. Right, and I'll let this be the last signal. And do morph. I have my shortcut here for store morph target. It's somewhere in the outliner, but I'm gonna store morph target. So I store this thing. This is the cloth brush I really like. The nudge cloth brush on low is. See how now, like I have all that, or I can move it this way, and it's probably extract. And so, if I go up in subdivision, I have these nice little folds here. And if I use brush morph, I can start to morph away what I don't want.
Oh, so the morph brush goes back to your store morph target?
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So now I can keep what I want or take away.
Yeah, so for your giant, say you wanted to go in and just start doing a whole bunch of new folds on here, additional folds. Like you didn't want to mess up your original. You store that morph target and then you sculpt your heart out, and anything you don't like, if you use the morph brush, it'll go back to the sculpted state.
That's awesome. Thanks. I had no idea. That's really cool.
Cool.
Pretty dope.
Right. I only had one question if you had time for a question, and that's so like this is a lot of stuff that was like extracted, like all the clothing is extracted from the body, so the body's underneath there and the clothes, and then now he's all in pose and there's no T-mesh anymore. Are there any like tips for like, because now I can see that when you say that S, I'm like, oh yeah, because I want him to be like conversational with somebody who's much smaller than him. So leaning him farther forward on his, one leg, maybe having the other leg, arm relaxed on his, by his side, like putting a curve in his. I can see all that now, but like, is there a good way to move multiple, overlapping tools, or you just kind of gotta?
Well, yeah. If you have a low enough subdivision, and you take it into transpose master, then you could totally do that.
So that'll work even when you're not starting from a T-pose. It'll work from whatever state it's in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Yep. So what I would do, like if we're looking at this, like I might move that arm back a little more, and then have this one, kind of. Oops. How do you have it actually like that? And then he has the hammer. And for the hammer, rather than having it so horizontal or vertical, rather, I would give it like either a little bit like maybe this way or a little bit this way, probably forward, right? And have the hammer just kind of there. Because what's happening now is we're getting, like if we look at his leg, we have the leg kind of at this angle, we have the hammer at this angle, then we have the other leg like this. Did you see what I did too? Is I kind of pulled that the shin back in order to get him more on his tippy toe, so he can be putting his weight on his toe.
Okay.
Right? So if we come over here, like we want the weight distribution to feel right. So if he's leaning forward some, then and in fact I actually like it better if he's leaning forward a bit more, right? And then he's got his hammer, right? And then he's doing this thing, because what's happening now is his weight is coming forward. It's more on the toe and it's more on the front of this foot, and his head is over his knee. You always want to try to keep his chin as far over, like as close to being over his knee as possible, and then that's going to make the weight feel much better on him. Okay. So yeah, this is a lot of scribble scrabble, but hopefully you're seeing what I'm talking about. Absolutely. The other thing too, yep. So we have the S's here. You want those to convey through the side as well. So if we're looking at like a profile of him, have this. So if we're looking at it from the side, is there a way to clear this out quickly, Bradley? Just trash it.
There's a little trashing.
Nice. So so you want to make sure that side is kind of doing its thing, and then he's kind of over the hammer, and the hammer's doing its thing like that. And then from the front, rather than having him just, straight up and down, you want to try to get some S shapes in there as well, right? So, that knee is like there, and then, you have his shoulders kind of doing their thing, and, he's got the hammer. So try to you want to stay away from straights, right? You don't want too many straights in your guy because it's boring. And a lot of times you'll see characters and they just look stiff. And so it took me a really long time to learn that. We have a mutual friend, Brad Grotman, that's on with us this week that taught me that. I am hammering into Bradley all the things that took me way longer to learn, because I don't want him to have to go through the crap like I did. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you too is for the forum, what I was talking about is just like having a little bit more definition of, these individual muscles here, just to make it look a little more striated, like Bradley was talking about, and have the muscles be a bit more defined. He doesn't have to be any bulkier, But usually when you think of a swimmer's body, or a perfect example is like, what's the dude that played Green Goblin? What's that guy's name in Spider-Man?
Green Goblin guy.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking
Bradley.
about.
What's his name? Come on, what's his name? Anyway.
Hey, Frank, thank you for joining. We'll be with you 1 second.
Yep. So that guy, he's like super, like if you look at him when he first turns into, they give him the gas or whatever, he's like super thin, but very muscular, right? So that's what you want. Yeah, Willem Dafoe. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect reference.
So yep. So look at that, and then your guy is going to look a little more. And when you shrink him down to that miniature size, all those little details are going to make it look, it'll make his arm look more defined rather than just looking like, this, like a Lego arm. Yeah. Yep.
Appreciate it, man. You guys, you spent all those years learning that stuff, and now you're giving it away for free to us. So, man, I super appreciate it too.
No problem.
And merch.
And merch, yes.
and not only that, if you'd like to learn more ZBrush, I do mentor. So if you have time and you want to take some classes, just holler at me in the Discord, and we'll set up some classes.
Awesome. I may take you up on that in the new year. Appreciate it very much.
Nice.
All right.
Good seeing you, my friend.
Thanks, gents.
All right.
And I'm back.
Hey, nice. And we got video now. Nice.
And we got video.
There he is.
And he has
Wow.
I like that.
There he is. Okay,
Yeah.
I see you. Wait a minute.
You've earned a full screen.
Boom.
You've earned a
There
full
it is,
screen.
full screen.
Hoodie Bros. Yes.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's the one I have.
Nice.
Nice.
Mhm.
All right.
I need to,
Just got
I
it
need to
a
get
couple of days ago.
How do you like
that's
it?
awesome.
Yeah, I don't know why my internet was breaking up and I lost the connection. Normally everything's good, but yeah. Okay, so I'll get a couple of screenshots of the stuff where it is right now. And you're right. I shouldn't. I'm a perfectionist, so I was like, no, I'll render it out and I'll show them the.
I'm right there with you.
Hey, but all that means that you have tougher skin than I do, because if I get to the render stage and you want to give me feedback, I'm mad.
He doesn't like that.
But yeah,
loves to do that, by the way.
So okay, so I'll upload right now some stuff and get feedback, and whenever you can get to it.
Okay, it looks like you've done a lot, my friend. So wait a minute,
Yeah.
what more did you have to do before you could present this to us?
A bunch
What the hell do you
of
want feedback on?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I like the Joker in there. I see him. Our hyena. Okay, got the Joker over there. Yeah. It's funny. So Bradley, did you ever see is it Coppertone? Do you ever see the Coppertone ad that he's kind of referencing this from?
Yep, I have.
Yeah.
He showed it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's funny. I like the teeth there. This is dope. Okay, I went first on the last one. Bradley, you want to go first this time?
You're almost done. Looks fantastic. You're the man.
Thank you.
The only thing that seems to stand out a little odd to me is how her abs are.
Right.
That's the only thing. Like, I think the way the abs are for me kind of like stands out, because everything else is so super well done. And maybe her breast, where they're laying, seems to be pretty flat too. It could be because she's leaning over, how it's going like really, like if they were real, they would kind of be flat like that. But if maybe stylize them a little bit more,
raise them up a little bit.
Yeah, raise them up a little bit. Because in the front, like, yes, she's leaned over, but there's like, it seems like a flat plane up front, and that stands out, like how flat and flat that plane is in the abs. That would be the only thing that stands out to me.
Okay. The abs, you mean they're like too defined?
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking of like maybe I should calm them down a bit.
Yeah,
I would. Go ahead, brother. No, I was going to say, I think she just needs some more fat, right? Like, I think that's the thing about women, is they can still be thin, but not have like the ribs exposed, and she doesn't have to have like a washboard ab. I think that adding a bit more like to her love handle and transition that into her, her backside there, and then you can keep this overall shape, right? Like you can have that, and have the belly button, and you can even have something like this, and where's the eraser? Yeah, and she still looks thin, but she looks a little more voluptuous, which for Harlequin, I think she's kind of a pinup style character, so that's kind of the way that I would go with it. And it's always dicey when you show the ribs on a woman. You know what I mean? Like you don't want her to look emaciated, but you don't want her to look like too, like the old masters back in the day. Women were larger then, right? So you don't want her to look Rubenesque or anything, but you do want her to, you don't want her to look like she's been on like a water diet or something like that. But yeah, I'm right there with Bradley. I think that, maybe perking up her chest a little bit could make it feel, they don't have to be huge. They can still be small, but maybe raise them up a little bit is going to help. The other thing too is her face is very drawn. And if she is doing one of these, those kiss type things, then that makes sense to me. But I think that maybe making her face a little less drawn in on the cheeks, could make her a bit more attractive. So I would just say, overall legs, A+. Okay, all of this stuff, like everything here, A+. The hammer this is what I was just saying on the last critique. I try to stay away from too many, parallel lines. So her legs are kind of at this angle. I might have the hammer kind of, a little more like this, right? Okay, yeah. Where it's at a bit more of an angle, or it could even be maybe laying down this way or something, that it just kind of breaks all of the straight up and down stuff. But overall, killer. This piece right here, this is brilliant, dude. Like the box with the Joker, come on, it's freaking dope.
Thanks, Dan.
So yeah. No, you do some great stuff. So I like that. I mean, obviously, I would probably add just a little bit more back here. But that's me. That's just me. A little thicker on the Christmas stuff. But yeah, the Hyena's dope. It's just a great piece, man. Like you do some really good compositions, and I can see why you got the gig with McFarlane.
Go back
to this one.
There. So yeah, I would probably like that big L that's by the hyena leg. Probably it looks a little, the way the tube looks a little unresolved, like how it's doing that. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't even see that. Like even if you make like some, like kind of fix that L, and also probably just how you did like a little fur on the front elbow of his leg, maybe a little bit of that too would help it.
Even if you just kind of, for this part here, if it was maybe doing a little bit more like this, where it was back a little on this one, and then the other one, what's the other one? The other side.
And do the little fur treatment, that like kind of how you did on the front, on the back of it will also be nice too.
Yeah. So you have. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm with Bradley. I didn't notice that. Yeah, that back part looks like it's a little rough on the back leg for him. But the rest of it is looking great. I would add some, just a little bit of that fur. You talking about like right here, Bradley?
Yeah, like right there. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like how you did there, and just like how Mike is drawing it. because it looks like a it looks like, because everything else is done, it looks like that leg part's not done.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, and look at so I mean this is
It's so
really
dope, yeah,
it is
it's so
dope.
dope.
It is a dope piece.
Thank you.
Yeah. I would just look at some pinup stuff, just because that's going to show you some really great. Anthony Vargas is amazing at that, but like adding a little bit more, a little bit more fat over the muscle, and the bone is going to make her feel, I think, a little bit more pinup-y.
Right.
Yeah, you can even see the imprint of the gun in this. Did you notice this, Bradley? Like in the stocking there.
Now I can't unsee it. It looks great.
Yeah.
Thanks. I still have to. I still have to clean it up, but
Yeah. Yep. Just so this is the thing, right? Like we have our straight up chimney. We have the ground is flat. Like there's a lot of areas that are kind of like very, perpendicular. I would have maybe this hammer out here a bit more this way. And then if we're looking at it from the front, rather than it being like this, I would have it more kind of leaned over, so that you're getting a nice, like there's an angle for the hammer this way, there's an angle for the hyena this way, and then she's kind of like, then everything doesn't look so straight up and down. Yep. But overall, man, again, very cool piece. Yep.
thank you so much.
Of
That's
course.
going to be super useful.
Yeah.
I have the whole weekend to work on it, so I'm actually going to start tomorrow. Yeah, definitely work on anatomy. So yeah, the her face is like the surprised pinup face. She's not actually supposed to be like blowing a kiss. Well, maybe kind of like So yeah, I'll give her a bit more cheeks.
You know what might help with that too is because it feels like there's some action going on in this guy just popped up. He's pulling her pants, so she's shocked by that. So I think that she either needs to be looking more towards the hyena or more towards the Joker. And if it were me, I'd be looking over my shoulder. I think that's going to help. So if her head was kind of looking like a little more like the heck, you know what I mean? Like she's looking over her shoulder down at the dog, then that makes the interaction between these two look better. I think right now she's looking at the viewer, which is cool. And normally, like when you buy a statue, you want the character to be looking at the actual viewer. But like the action is either here or here. So she needs to be looking at one of these guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
I see what you
nice. And again, nice job with the runner. Like you're the runner king. you got the runners on lock. Nobody's messing with your runner game.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
And quick question: you're going into substance and stuff like this after this?
No, I do poly paint only in the ZBrush. So all this, like the wood and the bricks and stuff like that, I'm just projecting pictures with Spotlight.
And where you're rendering?
Cycles. So I'm using I'm using Go-B.
Okay.
I use Go-B, so I don't even have to do UVs most of the time. It's just vertex color. I can even keep my poly groups as vertex groups, so I can assign my materials and stuff.
So is this? But this is a BPR here, right? Or is this Cycles?
No, that's a BPR.
Okay. Yeah, I can't wait to see the Cycles.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to start playing around in it. She's at around 35 million now, so I'm probably gonna have to decimate a couple of things.
Okay.
I've been testing like how much can I import in Blender. My laptop has a 3050, so he's doing better. My PC's okay, but yeah, just to see how much can I import and still be able to work with it. But yeah, I can always decimate a bunch of stuff and shade smooth cycles, and you can't even tell.
Cool.
So yeah,
Right.
thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll see you on Saturday, hopefully.
Yes, you will. Yes, you
Okay.
All right, man.
All right, man. Take care. Nice
Have a
gear.
good night.
All right.
All right. See you.
Thank you. See ya.
Okay. All right. So tell us what you are, who this character is for, and what was the like? How long have you been working on it, and what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah. So I'm like looking to improve my portfolio. I want to be a character artist for games.
Okay.
So this piece I'm making for my portfolio. So I've been working on this like for 2 weeks maybe,
Yes.
and this is not like finished yet, but I still wanted to get the feedback on it. So I uploaded it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I wanted to like go for like stylized approach, like semi-realistic or something, but I feel like it's turning into like more realistic one, which I'm not sure about. So can you guys like help me out with that?
Yeah, not a problem. So I definitely see the stylization in like the fingers, and I love this piece on his belt here with the skull. That's dope. I think now you're using the ambient occlusion shader in your BPR as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So I personally, our buddy Tony Gore, who's on this week with us, he uses that a lot. I personally don't like to use that only because, like on his face, it kind of makes the forms a little harder to see. But I will tell you this: I think that it still feels stylized to me, and really in the, let's see, I would maybe. All right, so I'm gonna kind of go on this. If I miss what you're looking for, let me know. But
Okay.
I would first look at some of these volumes, and I think that I love how wide he is. Like, that's dope. That feels very stylized, right?
Yes.
I love that. So with what I would do is maybe look to carry that same type of feel into his arms as well. So perhaps these triceps could be a bit bulkier,
Okay.
right? Just to kind of match some of these other volumes. And one thing that definitely reads as stylized for me, like I think the muscles are all where they should be, and you know, it's just kind of playing with the way that they look and their volumes. But one thing that I like on these type of characters is when, and it really reads as more stylized, is when you have like bulky forearms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like even if you went bigger with the forearms, then you had the hands, and then you had the gauntlets on top of it, like then that's really feeling like he's like just chunky, you know, like a really chunky dude.
Yeah.
But I think the hands are great. I think the gear is nice. Be careful of some of these areas here where it looks like, you know, maybe you made this and it got a little like wobbly there.
Yeah.
So that's easy enough to just remake. I'm assuming you're using Z Modeler to make this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. Just be careful that areas like the gauntlet, it's easy for things to kind of get moved around, so that it might be thinner here, and then down here it just looks a little unsure, you know. So it's easy enough while they're in their low poly state for you to grab the move tool and then make sure that, like, maybe you have to grab this vertex here and kind of move it down some and just even these things out a little bit to clean that up. Right? How'd you do his hair, with fiber mesh?
No, I use like curved tubes brush.
Wow.
I created individual hair stands for that.
Sheesh. You did that for his beard too?
Yeah, for mustache, beard, everything.
Wow, you're crazy. That's I thought that was fiber mesh. Good gracious. Okay, well, kudos to you, my friend.
So if it's a game character, what's your plan to resolve that for render and for your game model?
You thinking about cards, maybe?
Like I have still no idea for that. I wanted to try in Maya or something, but still I'm like trying to make it in stylized, so that would be like realistic if I made those in the game.
There's a couple ways that you can resolve it, right?
Okay.
So you could either create a head, like you can project all that hair detail by just making the forms as like actually polygroup, like do the best way to explain this is when you retopologize it, make sure those sections are like the squares are like covering the head, and you could project that hair detail onto it. You just have to make sure that when you're doing it, that it's like your transitions between each piece, because you have the hair that's flowing back, and you have the hair on the sides. You have to make sure you're doing it that way, or you go the route of doing actual hair cards. So if you want to like display it for games, make the hair cards. I will tell you this: if you don't want to do hair cards or be responsible for hair cards in the actual game production, it's also a skill. People who do hair, they're not doing all the other things as well, right? Okay. So you could like fake it till you make it. Like see how Mike is doing those big sections like that? You can do big sections like that when you retopologize it and project that detail on it and not have to worry about doing hair cards.
Okay.
Like really define hair cards. You could just project that detail onto meshes like that.
How do I get rid of this thing, Bradley? What is that? Do you know?
That is, you have to click out of, like, if you go and you click open image online, you'll get rid of that. So go back to, see at the very bottom.
Okay, just hit cancel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like doing stuff like that is a good way to fake it. Or, you can just understand that, maybe you won't be doing hair cards, and maybe you just worry about making sure all the rest of the mesh is solid for game UVs, and you just import a low decimated mesh of the hair and plop it on there.
Okay.
We have a friend named Bobby Foster that does these characters, and he uses hair cards for stuff, and his hair cards look amazing. So just taking something like that basically is just a big polygon, and then texturing it with the individual strands of hair can really go a long way, and it keeps your model super low. So what Bradley was talking about with those cards, you don't even have to be super great at it. You know what I mean? Like if they fit the form and you kind of can layer them so that they kind of look like that slick back hair, then you can get that same type of detail with a lot less work.
And what I was saying, Mike, because he went through such because he created all those individual strands.
They want to keep it,
those would be what he project onto the cards.
Okay. Rather than taking it into Photoshop and using like a TIFF or something.
Because he already did it. Like what he would do, I was showing you how he could keep the work that he already did. He could make those planes on top of what he did. Like he could retopologize the planes on the floor of the hair and project that hair when you do your mesh projection. And I don't know if you what do you use to do your mesh projection? Do you use Toolbag or do you use Substance?
I use like both. I can use both.
Yeah, so in Toolbag, you would just literally when you get you would project that hair onto the hair mesh on the squares that Mike just showed that you just designed, and you'll get a really cool effect there too.
Yeah,
nice.
That's dope.
Okay, I can definitely try that. Yeah.
Because it's very rare when I see someone go if you're because you did so much what you did there in sculpture. People would normally not do it in sculpture. They'll go in and do what Mike said and do the hair cards. But because you created in sculpture, I'm trying to find the best way to reserve because that's literally what you would do. You would just bake those hair shreds onto cards.
Yeah, because I saw one artist piece. Pablo Monos, he made some of the Vikings one, so I just wanted to try that same thing, that same feel for the hairs.
Yeah, no, you did a great job with it. I mean, this up here is really, really nice. This part right here is amazing. Like, yeah, kudos on this.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have you ever seen Jay Hill's video for hair, for bringing like detail hair into tool bag for rendering? Because just in case you wanted to do extern or something like that.
Yeah, I have seen those videos. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good pipeline to follow too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, I think this hand is fantastic. I love that. Like that stylized look looks really good to me with the plainer shapes, and the fingernails look great. What I would probably like on this belt, this is so nice and chunky on the skull that I might make these like a little more chunky on these straps that kind of go here. Okay. You know what I mean? Rather than having them so thin, like they're just a little thin to me. And maybe vary the size of them a little bit. You know, maybe some are thin and some are thick, like they're straps or something. Yeah. But that looks really good to me. Again, if you want to go with a stylized look, he's so bulky that when you get to like thin areas like that, they look really thin. Yeah. So I would chunk up whatever you can. You know what I mean? Like just chunk it on up, and then that's going to fill the space a little better and make it look a little more like it fits on his body. You don't want anything on him that's too thin because it's going to feel dainty. You know what I mean? And this dude is not a dainty guy. He's a big boy.
Yeah. And I also want to like know about my anatomy. I'm still learning it. Any tips that you can give me, like any corrections on that?
Totally. I mean, that's just like I went through when I'm sketching over what you're doing now. It's just kind of you know, if you haven't already, I was talking to somebody earlier. Grab yourself maybe an anatomy tool guy, one of these little guys here on 3dtotal.com. They sell them, and they're probably on Amazon by this point, right, Bradley?
3D Total stuff is not on, but they are Ecrochets on Amazon that you can get.
Yeah. So, but the Ecrochets are fantastic. These are cheap. When I say cheap, like $150 each. There are really expensive ones, but I think just for what you need, I would definitely get that. Build a reference, like get yourself Pure Ref and build up a reference folder of body types that you like to sculpt. Right. So like I have a bodybuilder thing that I use where it's got just every angle you can imagine of just big, you know, burly dudes. Yeah. So get that. And the other thing too is if you really want to like get into it and you have the time, I'm available for mentoring. So I can teach you anatomy and ZBrush skills and all that other stuff. If it's something that you might be interested in, just holler at me in the Discord, and I can talk to you about that. Okay. But I think overall, your direction is really good. I would just continue to play around with it. Never get too like for me, I don't ever call anything done. Now there's a downside to that. You never finish anything, right? Yeah. So, but you're constantly working on getting your stuff to be better. And I notice that the more I do it, the faster I get, you know? So, so yeah, that's it.
Thank you guys.
Bulk up those